What's up, family? Welcome to L.U.S.T. Let Us Speak Truth. Let me introduce y'all to the family. We got Natasha, we got Steve, we got Jason, Tanya, and Tony B in the building. Today, as a guest on the show, this is your truth. It will not be edited, deleted, or otherwise. Got me?
All right. Stand on it.
Y'all doing good this evening? Y'all doing good?
10 toes down.
Okay. Today's topic is going to be toxic traits. What is a definition of a toxic trait? Let me tell you. So I researched the top seven. The top seven toxic traits are manipulation, judgmental, negativity, self-centered, difficulty managing their anger, controlling, and they make you feel bad about yourself.
Selfishness.
Mm-hmm. Any other ones? Any other traits y'all can think of?
Lying compulsively.
Lying, okay.
Unpleasant behavior is a big one.
Unpleasant behavior, okay.
Wretchedness.
That's not.
That can be toxic if she take it though.
That's the Oaktown word.
You love and hip hop?
Huh. That's a bunch of rappers.
Ratchet.
You know of any toxic traits, Tony B?
Man, I mean, you pretty much hit all of them. I can't think of anything else besides all of those.
Right. Let me ask y'all a question. What are your personal toxic traits?
Ooh.
We're gonna go down the panel.
I'll start it off. I know for one that I'm super negative about stuff, man. My wife is on my heels about it. She's like, "You just negative." I'm like, "Man, I can't help it, man. The truth is the truth sometimes. If it's negative, it is what it is. I'd rather speak it than, not say nothing at all. And you just think I'm sitting over here just dumb as a box of rocks."
Right. I'll say mine. Difficulty managing my anger. When I know somebody's wrong, I try to bite my tongue, but then I don't say nothing, but I hold it in. And then I explode.
I was gonna say that.
Managing
I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
When I'm mad, it's hard to control my anger.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Jay?
I like to fight.
So yours will be your anger. Yours will be your anger.
Yeah. Like, especially, I feel like if it's arguing, like, fuck all this arguing. Like, at least with a man. Like, I'm not about to argue with no dude. Like, grown ass man. Like, fuck, we argue.
Your phone's breaking up. You got to sit down. We're going to get back to Jason. Tanya, what about you? Do you feel like you have toxic traits?
I allow someone else's toxicity to control me emotionally. So pretty much what you said, but then I end up feeding into the toxicity. And so there I go, so therefore I become toxic myself.
Right. Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one. What about you?
Y'all can hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I just ain't with arguing. I don't like arguing. And like she just said, if I argue, I get sucked into it. And then I, let my blood pressure get raised. And then I become violent, want to hit somebody.
Right.
Or multiple people. And that's
not one, but multiple.
I love Jason. Like he's my cousin. He said not one person, but multiple. So anybody that comes down the road when he's angry, he's just gonna be like, bat, 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 bat.
If I feel like they want some smoke, because if I'm in smoke mode, then everybody can get it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I smoke a lot of weed. So
let that be the
smoke mode.
Right. Because that's the reason. No, that's not the reason.
It makes me sick.
So,
Oh,
Steve,
shit.
what would you say? Do you have any toxic traits?
Who's that now?
Do you have any toxic traits?
Do I have any toxic traits?
Mhm.
I think the thing that mostly that people tend to say that they have an issue with me sometimes is sometimes I might speak on race relations at not the most opportune time, or maybe not the nice, the actual best setting to be talking about that.
Right.
So I tend to get on people's nerves with that. Like they be like, yo, you go with that old militant Malcolm X stuff. And I'll just be like, I'm just speaking the truth. It might be at the wrong time, but if you say something and it triggers me to say something about it, then I'm gonna say something about it.
Right.
So, but it does get on people's nerves. So I guess that's a toxic trait of mine.
Mm. So you give me an example.
I'll give you the latest example. I've been seeing a lot of people commenting on the whole Brittany Griner situation,
Mhm.
talking about, well, she broke the law and, she getting what she deserved and this, that, and other thing. And my thing is this. Okay, she broke the law, but let's not forget, less than 100 years ago, it was against the law for a white person or for a black person to drink out of a water fountain that said white. It was a law. He was breaking the law. So just because something is a law don't mean it's right. And we're talking about marijuana, which has a lot of race relations that go behind that as well, as far as why it was banned and why it's a Schedule I drug. You know what I mean? So, that's something that I would speak on, and some people might not want to hear that, or they think it's not appropriate to speak on, whatever. But that's just who I am.
Yeah, that part. Ooh, that's a whole topic.
I
So
know it's a whole topic, but that
that
that's why I had
right
to give you an
there.
example.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. If you knew someone with toxic traits, would you be honest with them or let them be themselves?
It depends on the situation.
Okay. So
I would say something too. It depends on what the topic or the situation was at that time.
So let's say you were at a family gathering and one of your family members was toxic, but you were in a public setting with other people. Let's say it was you were at the beach and your family member did something toxic. Would you pull them to the side and tell them about themselves, or would you just let them free for all?
I would cuss their ass out right there. I don't tolerate stupidity. You are not about to show off or act the fool in front of family, and you leave that shit at home.
Mm-hmm.
Man, 9 times out of 10, family already knows who the toxic person in the bunch is. We already on the scope for them. We just wait for them to bust. 9 times out of 10, we just waiting for it to happen. So either way, sometimes they get pulled to the side and they rub the wrong person. Sometimes they get cussed out right then and there. It just depends. We know who that toxic person is.
And they know if Tasha's there and you act up, you about to get snatched up.
What if it was your friend at a Christmas party, a work Christmas function?
A Dukin.
Motherfucker. What Jason say?
I knew what that was. I got you, Jay. I knew what that was. That uppercut. He said, "Get that."
Like
I don't think I haven't had that situation yet and everything, but I don't know.
Oh, I've had that situation quite a few times, like with many different people. Like one of my biggest pet peeves is if you drunk, you better not be driving. Like, and if I love you, I'm not gonna let you drive. I'm gonna take the keys from you and all that shit. And you just gonna spend the night at the house, or I'm gonna get you an Uber. Now, if you're not giving up your keys, that's when I feel like I got to put my hands on you, because you're risking your life and somebody else's while you trying to get home drunk. Nigga, fuck your bed. Like, sleep in the guest room or something, you know?
Right.
Yeah, and that's if I like love you.
Right.
But even if I don't love you, I'm like you.
I was gonna say, if you don't care about him, you still wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Oh, if I don't care about you, then I'm just gonna beat you up. Like,
oh my goodness.
You gonna drive home drunk, you stupid mother. Like, I done seen too many people like get hurt with done witnessed many car accidents. I got hit myself with a lady that had her kids in the car with her while she was drunk. And she got out on some whole other shit. And I was like, look, it's because these kids here is the reason why I'm not going to call the police on you. What I am going to do is give me your phone, dial your husband's number, and I'm going to put it on speaker. This man came running around the corner like LL Cool J, I'm bad, like with the chain just swinging like this. And he just looked at her and was like, bitch, get your ass home before I kill you, motherfucker.
Wow.
And me and him handled the situation, you know.
Right.
But if them kids wasn't there, yeah, I'd have called the police on her real quick.
And
but I don't want them kids to grow up thinking that police is fucked up. They took mommy, you know, that'll scar a kid.
Right.
So
I'm scarred now.
Dad, shut up.
But I'm scarred. No, let me stop. Okay, Tanya, what would you say?
Blunt,
if you knew someone with a toxic trait, would you be honest with them and tell them, or would you just let them be themselves?
No, you know what? You know what? Because toxicity comes in many different forms. Now it depends on who I'm dealing with. Am I dealing with someone that has mental issues, or I'm dealing with someone? Well, I'm not gonna say sane because nobody's sane.
Right.
Excuse me, ma'am.
No, none of us are sane. We all crazy.
I'm saying
You ain't sane. You far from sane. You got about 30 marbles off.
I'm talking about multiple personalities. However, I'll try to be less confrontational. But I use the word I'll try. But if it's like a friend or a family member or a teenager, I'm gonna be more aggressive. And that's only because, not because I don't love them, don't like them, or don't know them, it's because I fear for their lives.
Right, right.
So if it's intoxicated, or if they are using language that is not pleasable. You know, when you're out in the community and you gotta act a certain way. You should. I'm not saying all folks do.
Most folks don't. Tony B.
Ooh, well, you know, I kind of look at it like this. We talking about, you know, kids or minors or something like that. You know, we definitely gonna step in and speak and, you know, let something be known. But when you're talking about adults, that's kind of slippery slope, because how you gonna tell a grown man or a grown woman what to do? You can tell them about themselves, and you can tell them that they being filed in that situation or something like that. But to actually get them to change their mind or act different or something like that, like when I was growing up, when I got to that age, when I was adult, when I knew that they were, huh?
When you were big tone, when you were big tone,
big tone days, I knew who the bad actors were, and the bad actors was like, oh no, you ain't going out with us, because I know when you go out, you act up and you get stuff started. So I won't even deal with them because it turns into a whole different thing. But I know that trying to get an adult, man or woman, to think differently or do something differently, or alcohol's involved, it don't really work out well.
Right.
So that's just kind of how I look at it. Just like, you know, when you're talking about adults, you can plant a seed, you can say something to kind of make them think about something, hopefully, but to actually get them to shut up or leave or do whatever, you know what I mean? That's, to me, that's I don't think that worked too well.
See, and this might be a bad trait for myself because I'm very confrontational. If I love you and I know you and you're in my presence and you're doing something, I'm gonna pull you to the side and be like, get your ass. You know, I'm gonna say something. That's the confrontational person in me. But a child, I'm a confrontational person. That's all I'm gonna say on that, because
you got to be careful with that, though. You got to be careful with being confrontational. You know, things can escalate, and you know, I done seen things escalate before into things I thought it shouldn't have went that far, but you know, it can go that far, and then you get other people that want to get involved, don't even know what's going on. They just want to hop in the middle of it, and then now you got to go check them, and you know, it can escalate really, really quickly.
See, and that, like one of my old episodes I posted, we talked about kids disrespecting their parents in public. Would you do something? See, I was in a grocery store one time and I seen this kid kick his mom. He was like 5, 6 years old. And I let him have it. I let him.
Now let me tell you the problem there with you. Let me tell you the problem with you with that is if
Not my business.
if the child is doing that, that means the parent is allowing them. So you just stopping it for the moment. But when they go back home, it's gonna be the same as it ever was.
But
You
That
have to
kid
get
probably
that in the
gonna.
bud.
but truth be told, you can't scar that kid because you didn't know him. That kid is
I'm not even
like,
talking
oh my
about scar. It
God.
ain't about scarring it. At that point, it's not about the child, it's about the parent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You supposed to do what you do as a parent. You can't change. You done told the child to be quiet or not be disrespectful, but when they go back home, the parent's still gonna be the same parent that don't discipline their child.
And this
You
is
see what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah. That's
So
true.
what you gonna do?
She needs some kind of therapy, how to be a parent.
There you go. That's
Yes.
where the problem comes from. The root of it.
God damn.
That is true. Okay. If
I seen
someone
a white woman. Hold on 1 second. I seen a white woman that told her son the most evilest shit in a grocery store when he was acting up. Little nigga kept knocking shit over, and she had just a breakdown, start kind of crying.
Mhm.
But she told him the most scandalous, slickest shit, funny as hell I've ever heard. She brought him real close and said, "I wish I would have swallowed you like the rest of your siblings." I said,
The hell?
this poor child, for the rest of his natural life, he's gonna be scarred for that. He can't even that just goes to like 30 years from now. He's with his woman. Oh baby, let me swallow you. Man, no.
Okay.
That was the most evilest shit in the world I've ever heard a parent tell that kid.
That's crazy. Only my cousin. I love him. Anyway, last if someone near and dear to you told you about your toxic trait, would you accept it or would you be confrontational?
It depends if I agree with what they said it was,
But what if you didn't know and they saw it and other people were saying it and so they're bringing it to you?
we'll discuss it and talk about it. If I'm not knowing that I'm toxic and I don't see it,
Mhm.
we can talk about it because you can agree to disagree.
Mhm.
Man, when it comes to your family and them bringing issues like that, man, it just depends on who it is in your relationship with that person. Because somebody that's telling you toxic, and maybe somebody you like, yeah, okay. And then sometimes you like, yeah, I am toxic because you like this or whatever it is. Sometimes we can love each other from afar because everybody that's there with you ain't there for you.
Mhm.
You know, and I'm just gonna be completely honest with you. And when you come into a situation where your family trying to tell you toxic, like I know this, you know this, like, why is this even a thing? Like, you know how I get down. We family, you know how this goes. Now
Right.
you want to bring this up because you feel some type of way. Let's talk about you being toxic. Then it goes into a back and forth and situation where everybody's not, we just bringing stuff up and everybody's bringing dirt on that. You know, like we was kids, you remember you did this, and then it just turns into a whole nother situation where if sometimes you just got to respect the person that you know they're gonna be toxic, you know they're gonna have these certain traits. It is what it is. Like me personally, my family know I'm gonna tell you, and if you either gonna ride with it or you're not gonna ride with it. And if you ride with it, I'm with you. If you're not, I'm up. I'm good. I see you at the next family function, or in the words of Erykah Badu, see you next lifetime. I mean, for real, because I'm straight. I ain't got no time. You know what I'm saying? I keep looking forward. I ain't got no time to be going back. The people that rock with me and just the person that I am, because I think when it comes down to, regardless if you're toxic or not, the people that ride with you understand you as a person and they know how to keep you in your lane to a certain extent. And the people that don't know you or don't understand or never tried or don't care, they don't mind pushing that button to see where you're getting ready to go. And more than likely, as we've all talked about on the show today, is that we're all willing to go there once somebody hits that button. They push that button, and next thing you know, here we go. Whether it be you know, somebody being negative, or whether we're feeding into somebody else's toxicity, or, you know, Jason just ready to fight, you know, Tony with his comments about the things that he's passionate about, we all ready to die on that hill for our level of toxicity in these situations. When it comes down to either the people around you ride with you and they're going to have faith in what you say and what you do, or they're going to be those folks that want to just bring it out of you in the worst way, and then you giving them everything that they ask for.
Right.
And the thing about me, I'm very, my whole family, you know, and friends that knows me, I'm very outspoken, but I'm not disrespectful in everything, you know. So don't take me to a level where I have to be disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Me myself, I think like if I love you, I'll take it in consideration. You know, but if I don't fuck with you like that, like me and you just associates, so to speak,
right?
And you trying to tell me something about me, I know, like the hell you will, you expect me to change? Like you're not that relevant to me,
right? Like
but
I don't know you like that,
right. But if I love that person, like life, I believe is about learning, and it doesn't stop with a certain age. So maybe you don't know whatever it is that you're doing bothers that other person. You know what I'm saying? Like, so until you really know, the only way to like know is them for, you know, tell you. And it's up to you to accept it and try to change it. But if you're not willing to change it, that's a selfish person.
right? What about you, Ton?
For me, I consider the source who's bringing me this information. I think everyone has toxicity within them. It's how you bring it to me. And again, I have to consider the source who's bringing the information to me. Because sometimes I have to, like Arsenio Hall, what is that?
Right. What about you, Tony B?
I think everybody hit on it the same way. It all depends on who it is that brings it to you. Because like I said, I think 9 times out of 10, everybody knows, you know, what issues they might have or what might be toxic. You know, like for myself, I get it. I know that, you know, what I'm passionate about, it could be a very touchy subject with a lot of people. So if somebody says something, I can draw it back and be like, if the right person says something, I'm like, I'm gonna leave it alone for now. But you know, once I done said what I said, I done pretty much got my point across. Now, as far as going to back and debating back and forth with it, there's no need for that. You know,
Right.
so I'm receptive of somebody saying, okay, you know, this ain't the time and the place. All right, I know it's not the time, but I'm gonna leave it alone.
Right. So what's the difference between toxicity and constructive criticism?
I always have to say timing. Timing. When you say what you say, you know what I mean? If it's the right time and the place to say what you say, it could be, you know, constructive criticism, or it could be looked at as being toxic. That's just my view.
Right.
It's just timing.
Right.
And I see it as, toxicity is anything that's negative. Constructive criticism is that I'm not tearing you down, I'm building you up, but I'm telling you a different route to take in order to get where you need to go. You see what I'm saying? I'm being more supportive of you without being judgmental.
Oh, are we being judgmental? But sometimes people need to hear that truth. Sometimes the time is not right, and sometimes the truth ain't what they ready for. But sometimes they in a situation where they need to hear it, and you're the person that gotta bring it to them. And it may seem like it's toxic, but it's just constructive. Because if I don't tell you, ain't nobody else gonna tell you. You're gonna be walking around here looking crazy or doing something stupid. But nah, you need to hear it right here, right now, and I'm about to give it to you the way that you need to get it, because you're not getting it on your own. So it's better for us to go ahead and do that and make it constructive. It may sound toxic at first. It may not be as constructive when they first getting it. But, you know, one thing that I always say, if I can take a breath and get to my next thought fast enough, usually I'm good, because that first thought was gonna get me in trouble. If I can get to that next one, then I'm usually more sound and I'm more ready to go. Once I'm hearing something that I don't necessarily care for, I don't want to hear, or it may be a truth that I don't necessarily like. But if you can give somebody the truth and give them a second to actually let it all sink in for a second, and then start building them up, I think that's where it becomes constructive, because it's toxic when you just hitting them, tearing them down, and it ain't no building back up, like Tanya said. It's just when you just keep just knocking them down. You just like, well, you did this, could have done this, you messed up this, now you hating on them, and now, and it just keep rolling, and this picks up steam. Next thing you talking to the wrong person, like Jay, you gonna be in a fight because he's like, yeah, you didn't say one too many things real fast. Instead of, be like, hey, I'm gonna tell you something real, you may not respect it, but this is what I got to tell you. A lot of people don't understand that, but it takes real ones talking to other real folks to understand when somebody wants the best for you, or they're just trying to give you some information, even though you may not like it. But you gotta be in the mind frame of being able to understand when somebody's giving you something and they're trying to tear you down. And like I said, if you can get to that second thought, now if they're trying to slide one in on you, then you go ahead and give them the business. But if they're trying to really just be there for you, then you gotta take it for what it is sometimes and just back up and be like, all right, I got you.
That's good. That's good.
Right.
I think the best way is to hold up a mirror and kind of like give them some harsh criticism or words of encouragement at the same time. Like, but it's all on delivery too, your tone of voice, on how you're speaking, your body gestures. Like, sometimes that constructive criticism, somebody can take it wrong and then it turn up into some other shit.
Right.
But that, straight up just criticizing is, like you said, just dig, like just like you're trying to provoke me now, instead of saying some inspirational shit behind the shit that you don't like. Like, for example, you could just be like, losers do that kind of shit that you're doing, and you're not that. Like, you ain't no loser. Like, give them an example, make them like a visual, make them see it, and then just be like, damn, that really was phony. Like, I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
So,
the wrong things happen for the right reason sometimes, or vice versa, so it's just one of those things that if you got to deliver somebody that truth, give it to them the best way you can. And sometimes it's not, like for me, I can't never give it the right way for some reason. It always seems negative, or it seems like it is what it is. But I you know what I'm saying, when I rock with people and I really truly mess with them, I try to be as, like, this is me just putting my hands around the situation and trying to, give it the best way I can. But it doesn't always come out right. But the people that rock with me understand that it's nothing negative.
See,
Even though it sounds
hit it on the point. You hit it right on the point. It's just like, I keep going back to Kevin Samuels, y'all. I'm sorry. But every time I go back to Kevin Samuels, I like the guy because I like what he was doing, but his tactic, presentation, was horrible. He into people. So, but we won't. That's a whole
took the bully route.
We won't go on that topic because a lot of people don't like me for that, which is okay because that's their truth. But I know my truth. You know what I mean?
I always say it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
It's just like when I tell people, if you're having a text conversation, if it's something that's really important, don't text it. Just talk it, because if you text it and I'm reading it, I'm gonna interpret it however I'm interpreting it. I don't know how you're saying it. Hearing it actually come out of somebody's voice and hearing the way it's portrayed to you, then you say, okay, I know what they meant. But I'm just reading it however I want to read it. You know what I mean? So, and then when you talk about, talking to people or approaching people and all that, like, I used to talk to youth about gang intervention, right? And people would be like, how did you approach that situation? Just like I approach every other situation. It's not about changing a person's mind, it's about planting a seed. If you can plant a seed in a person's mind, because most people feel like, even if you are right, they still don't want to, because they just want to argue for the sake of arguing. If you don't make them feel like they're trying to argue, you're just trying to give them some information. Even at the time, they might even not want to listen to it. But later on down the line, if you plant that seed, they're gonna look back into it and be like, you know what Nicole said might have made some sense. Let me look into that. It's later on down the line, it's planting that seed so it can grow. But at the time, in your mind, if you feel like you need this person to understand what you're saying or change their mind or see something from your point of view, that really don't work that well, you know?
Yes, I hear you on that one. What about in your own relationship? If your spouse or mate has some toxic traits, would you tell them about it? Would you pull them to the side in a public setting if they were acting erratic? Or would you wait till you got home and was like, we got to talk?
Wait till he got home and spoke to him.
You'd wait till you got home? Okay.
Yes.
I wish I could say that, but I'm gonna started in here, bro. This is where we're gonna finish it.
I mean, I think there's different times and different opportunities for it. Sometimes certain things have to be addressed improperly. You know, it doesn't have to be super loud. Then there's something that can wait till you get home or till you get in the car on the ride home. But I think that every relationship and every person has their own toxic traits that they have or something that the other perceives to be toxic. So, you know, even in my marriage, like I said, I'm negative. My wife has something that I perceive as that could be toxic, but there's levels to it too. Like toxic for us may be something really light, but for somebody else, it could be like game ending for them in their relationships and stuff like that. So It just depends on your level of what you can tolerate sometimes in your relationship with the other person, because sometimes that toxic can come in handy. Like you need that toxic sometimes. You need that. You know something's going down. You're like, oh, I know they get ready to pop. You waiting. Next thing you know, pop. There you go. And you like, we in here. Like now there we are. We right there where we need to be. Like I was waiting on that. There you go. Get it.
Look,
so it just depends where y'all at.
Does your face expression say enough?
There you go.
My face expression says enough. I don't have to.
That was my answer. My answer was gonna be like, you have to go into mama mode. You know, when you a kid and your mama just give you that look and you know what it is because you know your mama know you. Same thing. Your spouse or your other snippet other, they know you. So when they do something and you give them that look, they know exactly what you mean. You ain't gotta say nothing. You just give them that look.
Right.
Yeah. By then they'd be like, okay, I'm gonna end it now, or when I get home, it's gonna be something to talk about.
It depends on what level it's at, Tony, because you know what? I had that look, my wife has that look sometimes, and it still be like, if I got that level of go in me about it, then it is what it is. Like, I see you looking over there, put your lip back in your face. You know what I'm saying? Like, go ahead and fix your face. Like, but I'm already there. Like, that doesn't do it for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, go do it to my son. Don't do it to me because it ain't working right now. It should be like vice versa.
You know that when you get home, you're gonna have to address that. Y'all gonna have that conversation, right?
Nah, we make it to the car. We don't make it home. It happens in the car.
Y'all ain't even gonna make it home.
But you know what I'm saying? But we talk, but you know what I'm saying? That's the thing. We're open enough to talk about it. And I understand that she's mad. And you know, she's told me, well, you can get glad at the same pants you got mad in. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you sure right. It might be a different pair of pants, but I'll get over it eventually. Because you know what, at the end of the day, like my relationship is important to me, my marriage is important to me. So some of that stuff, even though it's toxic, or maybe something I did, like it's enough for me to want to change how I do it that time or how I do it the next time. But some of that stuff is inherent. Some of that stuff is just in you. Like if you petty and you just petty person, that's in you. You can't change petty. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't change my negative outlook on stuff. You know, like you just can't change that. But you know, I can tone it down just a little bit. I can just sound just a little less negative sometimes, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like Jay said, he get angry, like he might like, I'm gonna beat your ass. But you know what I'm saying? But he don't go through it. He give you that look and point and grit his teeth like, I'm gonna beat your ass. You know what I'm saying?
About it.
You know what I'm saying? But he don't go through with it.
For the sake of your relationship, you say to yourself, okay, because I don't want to have to go home and have to have this argument or disagreement with my other half. Now we ain't sleeping well and waking up in the morning, lip poked out and all that. So sometimes you be like, is it worth all of that? Or I'm just going to go ahead and keep everything nice and cool in the relationship and not let it go there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, like I'm gonna let this one ride. You got this one. You got this one.
Me
It'll be another
myself.
one. As long as we in the relationship or marriage, it's gonna be another one. Like, I'll get that one.
like
Let you have
like
this
you were
one.
saying, it's a matter on what the situation is. Now, if you just acting an ass, like you drunk dancing on tables, I'm gonna snatch you down, and we're gonna walk outside, probably skate off without saying bye to nobody. And because you did this, you ruined my night. And but if she's like, freak dancing with somebody on the pro, you know what I mean? Just
Ain't no
that's
freak dance
out.
in a relationship, period.
Nah,
Freak dance,
Right,
That's major.
dancing with
That's a
me.
major problem.
right. No, but I'm
Or
talking
Tanya.
about like when she just drunk and you just think it's cool to do that at that moment in time, and especially in front of me. Now, women do what they gonna do in the clubs anyway. Just like men gonna do what they gonna do. We don't know what goes on when y'all leave, and y'all don't know what goes on when we like skate out and do our thing.
Mhm.
And ask yourself this: would you do that in front of your spouse?
Mhm.
Kind of shit.
Right.
And if the answer is no, then don't embarrass me in front of everybody. Like, just because you're drunk, like, think a little bit about how the other person gonna feel. But like you said, sometimes you need that. It depends of a level of toxic. Like,
Yeah.
what kind of level, how much toxic shit can you really deal with?
Yeah.
How much are you willing to put up with?
I'm
And
gonna tell you,
everybody has husband, wife, they know. You know what you can do to your man, and he knows what he can do to you in public without crossing that line.
Right.
Now, if he just drunk and you drunk, and then both y'all, woo, yeah, then there's
Oh, that's a divorce. It's a divorce fight
right.
at night because they're both
well,
drunk.
right. Let me tell you this. I don't drink in public. I'm always a designated driver, and I rarely drink.
Mhm.
Okay. So my spouse can drink, whatever the case may be. But don't drink to get drunk and everything, because if you disrespect me,
Mm.
it's only popping. And I bet not see you act stupid or a female attempt to mess with my spouse, because I'm gonna snatch that bitch.
Ooh.
You to get snatched right along with her. I don't play no games like that.
So let me ask everybody this question, because you know what? We've talked about toxicity in a lot of different ways. And there's a common theme that keeps coming up here with alcohol or being under influences of different chemicals and stuff like that. What role does that play in the level of toxicity that we have, or affect it? Like, does it bring it out more? Does it give you that go? You know what I'm saying? Does it?
Absolutely.
They call it do it fluid or whatever.
Call it liquid courage.
Alcohol brings out a lot because it messes with your brain cells and everything. It make your brain think like, make you more freakier and make you more loose.
Liquid courage is what we call
Liquid
it.
courage and
You
everything.
can
That's
speak
what
your
she calls
mind.
it and everything. So I don't play games like that
It's
and
that do
everything.
it
So
fluid here in the Midwest.
when you think you have a little bit too much, I advise you to put the goddamn cup down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the type of female, I don't play those type of games. I will snatch your ass quick, fast, in a hurry.
Melvin and Tasha gonna beat your ass. No, I'm just playing.
I was trying not to say nothing. I was like, boy, he be on that smooth jazz with that cup. I was like, I hope he keeping it, keeping it calm over there. That jazz keeping him calm.
I will
Right.
snatch him and the bitch. I would tear that place down.
Knock the whole table over.
Baby, let me tell you something.
Oh my goodness. I
I won't disrespect him, and I won't disrespect, he don't disrespect me.
And see, that's the thing when it comes to toxic in relationships, it's the disrespect that comes with it. When you're in a toxic situation, the disrespect level goes 0 to 10. And so now you're not just toxic, now you're disrespecting your mate. And now that's what's causing issues, because you're being disrespectful. It's not so much the toxicity and them lashing out or doing whatever they're doing at that point. It's the disrespect that it's causing at that moment. I've been there.
It becomes.
I can't say I've ever been there. I've never been there. I'm not a drinker at all. Like I tried, just can't get it down. Plus, I have a high tolerance. I could drink wine and champagne all day and be chill, and never feel it at all. So it's a weird thing. But I've seen a lot of people drunk. I've seen a lot of toxic people drunk. Luckily, you know what I'm saying, my wife, she have a drink every now and again, but it doesn't have that effect, and she never gets wild with it either. Like she can get pretty where she laid back and I was like, "Oh, you feeling good?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, oh, I'm about to go ahead and lay it down. She knows when it's time to go ahead and just be good. But some folks don't have that. Some folks have that. They're gonna drink, they're gonna keep drinking, they're gonna drink past the part of drunk. Now we're ignorant. Now we're just getting stupid. We're stupid.
Exactly.
Right. Like I said, we get stupid. I mean, for real, because now you see folks, they've been drinking, now they mixing drinks, now they just talking, they slurring their words. And as you say, they truth is coming out. The truth is always come out when they drunk.
And I don't believe it's the truth. I believe it's liquid courage, but I don't believe it's the truth per se. I think
it's the truth. It's the truth.
I don't believe that.
It is the definition of lust. Drunks are the definition of let me speak my stuff. I promise you. They are on they got it in them. They like, well, you know, your mama she was out there in them streets. You know, and you didn't heard that's when all that stuff that they've been holding in, you know, because like somebody said earlier, you're holding that anger, you know, just like a balloon can only hold so much air until it busts. Now, if you're putting all that in there and then you put a little of that sauce in there with it, it's coming. It's coming and it's coming hard. And you might not know it was the truth. You might be like, oh, that's him talking outside his head. There's somebody in the room that's sitting over there like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't believe you just put me out.
Do you feel holding in your feelings in a relationship is toxic?
Yes.
Especially every man on planet Earth has had this happen to him at one point or another, especially in a relationship. Every man. You sitting there, y'all watching TV, and she just looked like she angry. And you looking at her, wanting her to look at you. Now you know this man is looking at you. Well, you can catch the side, you can feel the aura or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And what we ask, fellas, what's wrong with you? What y'all say? Nothing. That shit right there, boy. Y'all better say what the fuck is on your mind so we can get over this, because maybe it ain't me. Maybe you just need to vent to somebody, and maybe it is me. About you found out about some shit or tripping about whatever you think that you tripping about. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it goes both ways. But women, y'all quick to say nothing. We got to pull it out of you. And then when it comes rough at us. We're like, man, hey,
wait.
I just asked you.
I'm a big advocate. I'm one to be. I agree with that, because I used to be that person. I used to hold stuff in, and if people ask me what's wrong, nothing, and I'd hold it in. Now I'm such an open book. You know everything about me. You know when I'm pissed off. If I give you a look like, for real, you know my look. It's complete open book. I don't hold nothing in. And that also can be a problem, because some men can't handle that being so upfront and honest.
I think that's the best way to do it. Like, and if you pissed off at the man, handle that shit right there. Don't let it build up for months on end and you just collecting more pissed offness until that balloon bursts from the helium, like you said, you know.
Jason said pissed offness. That's a new word. Pissed offness.
Hey, you can put the isness.
Tanya, I can't hear you. You're on mute.
You can put that on anything, like pissed offness.
That's funny.
you know, but what was I saying?
So
I'm
done.
shut up.
I love you. I love my cousin. I
No,
love
but there's people know like how to piss off other people. Like, and especially in a relationship, you know what to do to piss your partner off. And one thing that y'all just stop doing is saying nothing is wrong when clearly something is wrong.
Yeah.
But hey, Jay, we not ready. Sometimes we say we want that level of communication, but sometimes we not ready for it. As men, we not ready.
Speak that.
But
I know I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, we want to hear it, and being an open book is the right thing, but we not ready because y'all say some stuff and we like, for real? Like what? You know what I'm saying? Like
Defense mechanism.
Like,
you get defensive
are you
that.
challenging me? Like, because you're not ready for how she really feels, and you know, because it ain't, because like you said, she at that point, she ready to bust at this point. So that delivery and everything that we talked about throughout this whole podcast hits you at one time, and then next you like, yeah, all right, that's how I feel. That's what you want to do. And then, you know, then you don't give a dang about her feelings, and then it starts a whole situation because now, like Tanya said, we done fed off of that, and now we into something completely different. Instead of just saying, we talked about it early on when it was just like, hey, this is how I feel. Instead of, and then the whole neck popping and the fingers and throwing up gang signs in the middle of your argument because, you know what I'm saying, you get your feelings, you're emotional about the stuff, and then it's like, as men, we sitting here like,
I'm just playing.
You testing me like, you know, like, I feel like you won't, you know what I'm saying, and we take it up to that next level as men, and then we want to shut y'all down, and then y'all take it up to the next level of just whatever the hell that is that y'all do. And then next thing you know, we ain't ready for it. My wife just threw something at me because she know I'm telling the truth.
Speak your truth. Hey, mama. Go ahead, Tony.
What about the thought process of, okay, you know, the woman is extremely upset at the time, right? And she says to herself, I'm just gonna wait until tomorrow because right now I'm just too mad and it's not gonna come out right. It's gonna turn into something. So they just let themselves. Now, for me, I always say, if that's what's gonna be the case, then let it be the case. Wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until 2 or 3 weeks down or 2 or 3 months down the line and say something about it. Just wait until tomorrow. If you know you mad, you've been drinking, or it done built up in you, and you know that it's not gonna come across right. Wait until the next day so it can be a better kind of conversation. Because if you say it right then and there, it's gonna be ugly.
Say it
the right thing, they'll sober up.
Say it right there. Say it right there.
If it's real, they'll sober up real quick. Somebody, you say something super real, they'll be sitting there drunk. Well, you just hold on. What you just say? And then you know they trying to find that clarity. You just hit them in the head like,
hold on,
hey,
Steve.
Man, I can't even feel this
hold
no
on,
more.
Steve.
It's like we said. It's like what we said before. It's not what you say; it's how you say it. And at the time, they're not gonna say it the right way because they mad.
But once you say something or ask them the question, even though they're mad, they're going to say something to where you can react in a calm manner to make them be like, oh, well.
How you know we're going to be calm?
Huh?
How you know we're going to be calm? How you know we're not going to take offense to it?
No, you got to be calm. If they're the drunk
ones, we always got to be the bigger person.
I'm talking about the one who drinks. It ain't got to be just the man. It could be the woman. If it's the person who is acting erratic.
You put the alcohol in. I'm not even putting the alcohol in. Sometimes y'all could be mad without even drinking because we done did something that y'all just highly mad about. You know what I mean? Without even drinking, but you mad, and you know that if you say it at that time, it's not gonna come across right because you just your other half, your husband or your boyfriend, done spent half the rent money, knowing that the rent is due tomorrow. And now you looking at you like, I don't know what we're gonna do. You mad?
That's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole nother.
Money, I'm a fill you up.
But it's something to be mad
about. That's your truth.
Yeah.
Hey Tony, somebody spent half the rent money on you one time, bro.
No, I'm just trying to come up with a
look, Tony. They toxic in itself.
Because a lot of times when we're talking about relationships, you know, it always got to be like maybe another person. I'm talking about some finances. Because what we talked about the other night, Most relationships, most marriages end because of finances. So I just threw that in there because finances, and it doesn't even have to be that. It could be something else as far as finances go. But I know that that could be a really touchy topic in relationships and marriages. That's why I threw that out there.
Hurt people. Oh, let me go back.
Uh-huh.
Don't spend my rent, my mortgage money. Don't spend bill money. We got a whole problem.
I'm saying.
A whole problem.
But it happens though. Let's be 100. It happens.
Yes, it does. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
And it's a reason.
That's a whole nother topic. Because I can go in on that.
It's a whole nother topic. Super angry. It's a reason to be super angry, right?
Right. But let's just say that for the sake of this podcast, because that one is a whole different subject. And Tony, we'll address that one. But for this podcast, if someone just made you angry, your spouse, just by, let's say, you asked them to do laundry and they didn't do laundry, and
it's a big pile of clothes on the floor.
And big pile of clothes everywhere. You had a trip. You had to take a work trip the next day, and the clothes are just sitting on the floor, and it's 9:00 at night. Mm-hmm. You angry at her? Mad?
Yeah, would I be?
Mm-hmm.
Not to the point to where it would be more or less like I'm just gonna say something and get it off my chest. I mean, I guess it's levels of anger, for certain things. You know what I mean? Like I said, I hate to keep saying it, but a lot of times for whatever reason we want to think that if we're talking about anger, we're talking about some type of infidelity or cheating or something like that. But there's different things. There's money issues. There's something as simple as not putting the toilet seat down. You know what I mean? For a woman, it could start a whole war in the house. You know what I mean? So there's different levels of things that you can be mad about, right?
Mm.
Okay, Tony, I have a question, Tony. Why would you be mad at her for not doing your laundry, which you could do yourself?
Absolutely. Okay. Good question. Good question. More than likely, if that's the case, it was something that was agreed upon that was something that she was going to handle anyway. Because maybe, women are specific as far as doing laundry. I like to do my laundry like this. I want to make sure it's like that. So if that's something that you allow her to do, because she said, let me do that. That's why I'm saying that. I'm not saying in the fact that I'm saying, okay, you're the woman, this is what you're supposed to do, because I can do my own, I can do all of that. But if we agreed upon, she says, okay, I'm going to do the laundry because I want my laundry done like this. I want my whites washed like this with, whatever fabric softener or whatever. That's what I mean.
Okay.
But not in the instance I'm saying that you a woman, that's your job. No, I'm just saying that it's a prior agreement that we agreed upon that, and it just didn't happen.
Okay. Got you.
Yeah.
That means Cuss washes his own damn clothes.
No, we
No.
We both do laundry.
Man, well, this was good, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I know we're a little over our hour, so let's go ahead and give our closing remarks. Each one teach one. Let's go around the panel. And what would you say to somebody who has a question about toxicity in a relationship?
I would say learn to work together. Learn to work together. But if the relationship is toxic, it's time to let it go. Okay? Because you can't put off a negativity. Okay.
Right.
Also speak to someone. But my thing is I'm always gonna end with this: prayer is the answer to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am. I agree.
Yes.
I would say find your courage without the liquor.
Mm-hmm.
And learn to have a civil conversation, because when you drinking and you trying to tell somebody how you feel, you can take it to a point to where it's a little bit too rough for that person to deal with. But if you having a reasonable conversation, like a loving one, y'all be all right.
Yeah.
It be them drunk talks that break most relationships up. When motherfuckers come home drunk and they just like, let me tell you how I really feel. Like,
that makes courage. What would you say, Natasha?
No, I agree with everything they just said.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Steve?
I think that it's every person's responsibility to know what they're willing to deal with, what they're not willing to deal with. even though they may be toxic and you got nothing but love for that person, if you can deal with it, enroll with it, but be able to communicate about the things that you're good with and you're not good with. Now, like Tanya said, the relationship get toxic, that changes the whole thing from being a toxic person to a toxic relationship. But if you are able to deal with that level of whatever it is that makes them toxic, go with it, because nobody understands a relationship but the two people in that relationship. So if that's your thing and you can deal with it, go ahead and deal with it. But be able to communicate and talk about the things that you want up front and the things you don't like up front. Because if you let it fester and go on too long, then you, like I said earlier, it's going to go from being a toxic person to being a toxic relationship. And it's not something you don't want to give up something for not being able to talk about how you feel or what you like and don't like beforehand until it gets to the point where everything is just gone awry. So just make sure that you talk to people up front, let them know what you're willing to deal with, what you ain't.
Right. I get that. What about you, Tony B? Your closing?
I'm just gonna piggyback off of what Steve said, because his answer is my answer as well. It's about communication, and not just in a relationship, but it's in life. You know, it works so much. And if you communicate with that your other half, you know, you make them aware of whatever toxic traits they have, and you're aware of whatever toxic traits you have. And I know that, you know, when you're in a relationship, sometimes whatever those things may be, that's been who you are for whatever amount of time. So it's going to take you some time to be able to get rid of that, or at least try to meet that person halfway to improve on that situation that you have. So the communication part, like, you know, I've talked to my other half, my other half has talked to me. I know what it is. When I recognize it and I see it, let me try to do something to address it and meet that person halfway. The communication is always key.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I appreciate y'all. Until next time, let us speak truth. Subscribe on YouTube. Until next time, y'all. Love y'all.
Love you.
Bye.